You can't have happy endings in sitcoms, not really, because if everyone's happy, the show would be over. And above all else, the show has to keep going. There's always more show.
BoJack Horseman is a Netflix adult animated sitcom that centers around the life of BoJack and tackles issues of the human condition, including that of mental health, addiction, self-destructive behavior, and trauma. BoJack's line in the introduction succinctly describes how popular culture, especially in film and TV, have become commodified by capitalist culture, but at the same time produces the culture we see today. Put another way, this echoes the postmodern question about the works of pastiche that ask whether it is life that imitates art or art that imitates life.
But I don't want to write a middle-grade fiction detective series.
I think you do, though, because when I was reading it, I could tell you were having fun.
Yeah, but I'm not writing a book to have fun. If I don't write my book of essays now, I never will.
So, don't write your book of essays.
I have to.
Why?
Because if I don't, that means that all the damage I got isn't good damage. It's just damage. I have gotten nothing out of it, and all those years I was miserable was for nothing.
Termed as a condition of capitalist realism, Mark Fisher argues that the deterritorializing impulses of capitalism have been confined to finance, leaving culture presided over by the forces of reterritorialization, and that materials now carry preemptive formatting and shaping of desires, aspirations, and hopes by capitalist culture. In other words, Fisher says that all of our subjective desires and all of art, literature, and everything else produced are shaped by capitalist drives for more capital, whether it be done conscious or unconsciously. In the same way, Lyotard, in his notable work The Postmodern Condition, affirms Fisher's argument. He too says that, in the absence of aesthetic criteria, it remains possible and useful to assess the works of art according to the profit they yield. Indeed, we now see a proliferation of films and TV shows that revolve around issues of mental health, addiction, and other self-destructive behavior. So much so that one can question the intentions of producers and creatives to use such tropes in their work. Are such use of tropes intended to provide a platform and a space to discuss such crucial issues today? Or are such tropes being fetishized and commodified to draw an audience? While this is an important point of reflection, I will discuss and argue how BoJack Horseman portrays such tropes and its underlying implications. It is the unhealthy capitalist drive to commodify the human body, including that of individuals' time, talent, and hobbies that underpin the mental health issues that BoJack and other characters suffer from. Diane is consumed by the need to capitalize on her trauma in order to produce and be worthy of her experiences. Todd is marginalized and considered an outcast in society because of his lack of contribution in the employment force. His worth is measured by how much he can contribute to others around him. Likewise, Princess Carolyn's identity and worth is tied to her career. She is constantly sacrificing other aspects of her personal life just to advance her career. Lastly, BoJack is burdened by his past. Raised by negligent and emotionally abusive parents, BoJack only received validation when he has performed and did exactly as his parents expected him to. He has been conditioned to believe that his identity is determined by external factors such as fame, prestige, and wealth, which are all essentially how our capitalist society is structured today. Aren't we constantly seeking out degrees, jobs, and titles that validate our capabilities? Aren't we burdened by the need to live productively, and thus we quantify how we spend our personal time?
I live in Boston. Chrissy Keating's a real bitch to me.
Was I? Or did you deserve it?
I deserved it.
The problem is you always blame other people, Dee Dee.
I know.
Who's a good baby? Not you.
Where are my pages, Diane? I need pages for my beautiful celebrities, such as Dr. Channing Tatum O'Neal, Patrick Ayers, and Focus!
I'm trying to focus. I'm trying to get to the truth.
I think you're afraid of the truth.
No.
Your damage isn't interesting and you're unworthy of love.
No, I'm not.
Of course you are! Are you? One of those stupid pop culture analogies I'm always doing? Because you're charming at first, but eventually, enough already.
You think you're a beautiful salad bowl? Conceited much? More like garden variety, am I right?
You blame everyone else for all your problems, but you're the one constant here. Go Pats.
You're right.
While Fisher and Lyotard's discussion of the postmodern condition under capitalism produces a commodified culture, it leaves a bigger implication on the condition of individual subjects. It is evident today that there is a sense of discontinuity between individuals' past and present, and thus creating a fragmented and alienated sense of self. Lyotard notes that this is a breakdown of a signifying chain, a condition of postmodern schizophrenia, a term that Deleuze and Guattari discussed extensively. With a couple of episodes, BoJack Horseman takes on a form of experimental storytelling to depict this postmodern inability to create a sense of continuity between the past and the present, or at least to simply make sense of the self. Visual and creative depictions of the breakdown of oneself is a common trope that often disrupts linear narratives and resists established meta-narratives. Baudrillard and Jameson would describe such creative depictions as images of the simulacrum, in which, quote, simulation is no longer that of a territory, a referential being, or a substance. This absence of a referent in images is precisely what we see in this scene now, aptly depicting the postmodern subject's breakdown of the self. Not only does popular culture attempt to represent and visualize the breakdown of one's identity and the self, popular culture also participates in it and reproduces this condition. Jameson even steps further to assert that images of the simulacrum in popular culture reinforce and intensify the logic of late capitalism. Nonetheless, I would resonate with Jameson's references to Marx, who urges us to think of capitalism both positively and negatively at the same time. Throughout the entire series of BoJack Horseman, there's been countless creative uses of pastiche, from borrowing animation from other shows, to imitating jukebox musical shows, to experimenting with forms of a stand-up comedy show.
You know, I was a little worried I wouldn't have the right accompaniment today. I guess it's a good thing my mom was an organ donor.
And a monologue theater performance.
But there was this moment, this one instant of strange calm, where she looked in my direction and said, I see you. It's the last thing she said to me. I see you.
The creative team behind the show have been nothing short of innovation with their uses of pastiche. Ultimately, the show does not answer our questions and concerns of the postmodern capitalist subject, but perhaps that's the point. The series finale, in which BoJack shares a few minutes of on-screen silence with Diane, is an answer in itself.